Oh wait, hello, welcome. Crap, did I have it unmuted the whole time? Yeah, well, it doesn't matter. Maybe I didn't. Welcome, my name's Frank. This is Premarket Wake Up. My community is called No More Paper Trading. It's not much of a community yet. I am struggling to network, but for good reasons. Plenty of work to do on the trading side. This stream has already had its desired effect of spurring me to work harder and acting almost as a video diary to work through my thoughts vocally, which was kind of the whole point of building this community. One day it would be nice to have a group of people that just want to be traders. If you're here in the future and read any of my statements, you'll know that I don't ever want to sell signals or start a community that charges fees. But then that means I'm going to be selective in who I let join eventually. And also I may just dissolve the whole thing if I start becoming mega profitable. Maybe not. Maybe it's a good idea to keep it going. One day. All right, let's get going. As I go live, let's check the news. All right, why isn't it working? Give me one sec. Damn it. Absolutely was working before. Nope. There we go. ADP came out. I don't think it's as negative as the market wished. I don't see any expected numbers. Let me check and see if there was. No, I don't know if there's any expected. It's weekly employment numbers changing. So we went from a negative 13.5 thousand decrease to a 4.75 increase. That's after, I just noticed the increase for the date of October 28th, 2025 was 14.25 people. Okay. But that means we had 3 months, 3 weeks. Is it a 2-week period or a 4-week average? Okay, so it averages every week. It takes a 4-week average every week. That's significant then. That means we are overcoming a big backlog of loss of jobs. I see that being, I don't know if the I don't think the Fed looks at ADP because it's more private. I mean, they should really be. But still, it kind of shows that, it shows the farce. That they're told they better cut. And it doesn't really matter what employment is. But it does show, it shows what I've been saying for a while now is, and not just me, but it seems to be the consensus amongst the bearish folk on StockTwits and other social media or news sites or whatever, that it's being propped up. You see these almost like fuse breakers. If it gets too low, all of a sudden, bam, it swings right back, and you have consistent volume pouring in that does not look anything like retail, or what I'm going to call medium retails, people that aren't exactly retail, but they aren't exactly pushing billions. Those in-betweeners. And that would explain why you don't get price action like you were 2 months ago. A lot of it is untradeable for me in my certain scalping strategies. Anyway, let's look at what other news is coming. Jolts. Again, I don't know if the Fed looks at them. But we're going to have a report for September and October. That's at 10 a.m. So if you scalp or trade in the short term, block those times out. I'm sure they will cause some type of volatility in the markets. Okay, so this is by the U.S. Bureau of Labor Statistics. So I think maybe I think the Fed might ignore everything, a couple days prior to the FOMC, but it still means something. I don't know where I heard that they ignore news in like the couple days before. Maybe that's not true. Other than that, just minor commodity stuff, which if you trade gold or oil, keep an eye on that. NC net positions. Okay, that's a COT report. So that's another one that has not, or was not being reported during the government shutdown. I don't know if this is the first one after the shutdown. I don't think so, but the previous one was a net decrease of 150,000. I don't know why it's in dollars. I thought it was the amount of positions. I guess they could measure that in dollars. I figured it'd be volume. That's all my list to do, is to learn how to read COT reports more. They're not really popular, which is surprising, but they could aid me in my longer term trades, for sure. All right, let's check some headlines, and then I'll take a look at overnight prices. If it means anything, because, like I said earlier, current markets are very hard to predict. Maybe the very major key areas are significant, but intraday areas are just not good. You either don't trade or just keep a very wide stop. And I don't think I'm the only one seeing this. Oh, I got a yawning fit. All right, headlines. Oops, not Coifin. What is Coifin? Why do I have it? Oh. Trying to make watch lists. Need to slim down my bookmarks. No! Damn it. All right, Trump hits the road to tackle con job affordability gripes. Great, great. I really did have high hopes for this presidency, but it's like, come on. Just do some of the things you said you would do and keep your grubby fingers off the markets. President Trump is hitting the road today to address Americans' affordability concerns head on. Oh, but inflation's fine. Inflation's just fine. Instead of marching around the country, I know this has been done by many presidents before, but I just wish there was one president who would just work on stuff. And I know he works like 12, 14-hour days, but how about spend most of those hours actually making change happen rather than trying to, or worrying too much about appearances. This is the one huge drawback of social media on society that I really dislike. I know there's good sides to it as well, but as a whole, I think it has had terrible effect. On one front, Trump and his team often seem to dismiss the sense that everyday costs are becoming harder to manage, or at least whether the White House holds any responsibility for it. Yeah, they're doing what the Democrats did last time. It's like, it's not happening, and then, oh, it is happening, but we have nothing to do with it. And then, oh, it's happening, but it's good. You can call it affordability or anything you want, but the Democrats caused the affordability problem. Come on. You both did. Trump offered Monday at the White House as he again falsely claimed that prices now are falling overall. Inflation worries are overblown. Again, you cannot really say that about any, if you're comparing it to like inflation in Argentina during, whatever time, or in Germany after World War I when inflation spiked thousands of percentages. Yes, they are falsely claimed. But if I have a claim that prices are going higher, there's only one way to say it's falsely claimed. Show me that they aren't going higher. If they're not doing that, then you can't say it's just the usual PR spin. I think the president's frustrated by the media coverage of what's going on. Okay, you already did that. Inflation worries are overblown. On the other hand, Trump and his team have taken a series of actions in an apparent acknowledgement that affordability is more than a media creation. I don't know, maybe they're slowly spinning towards not pushing for a rate cut? I don't know. Wouldn't it be the first time that reality has hit the White House? Reverse some of its tariffs on grocery store items. A $2,000 tariff rebate check. That would be the worst thing ever. And a 50-year mortgage is terrible too. You want to lower month-to-month costs. I said this yesterday. There's one very, very simple option. Stop printing money. Stop pushing government spending. It's as simple as that. This weird area where he's trying to push government money to prop up markets and at the same time keep inflation down. It's just lunacy. It's simple. So I understand economics is not a science like biology is. But supply and demand are a science. More supply of money, inflation go up. I'm pretty stupid about this type of stuff, and I know that. So the only thing I can take from that is propaganda. That's all they care about is the propaganda, the perception. Prices aren't going up, it's your perception of those prices going up. And it's the same old, it's supply chain issues. It's a nice way. It's like when someone says, my loved one's he's in a better place, rather than saying they dropped dead. Saying supply chain issues is a nice way of saying inflation's going up. I'm sick of this article already. And this is another thing I don't understand. You were elected on a hard stance on China. But again, bubble must keep going. Market must keep going up. At any cost, and I mean any. Geez, we had such a great chance to try to put America back on top. But I really do think, I don't think we'll be speaking Chinese at any time soon, but I do think that America's kind of going to become like France and Germany and England are becoming. Kind of puppet states. You know how the world's kind of, right now, a large part of the world is, they're puppet states to America. America bullies everyone for the greater good of America and capitalism. I guess you could say that. Soon we're going to be singing a tune to China, whatever China says. And really, because the markets reacted, everything was still fine. I don't get it. But an argument could be said that China was going to get them eventually, might as well make money off of it. Maybe, I guess, but don't start a trade war unless you're willing to finish it. And we just rolled right over. And I guarantee you that he actually believes that he won. Maybe that's what, separates the people who become millionaires from the average American. It's the capacity to bullshit yourself. All right, I'm sick of this bad news. I don't care. I want to see market news. Microsoft. Microsoft will invest $17.5 billion in India. Well, guess what? India doesn't want your crap either. Man, they're just doubling down on the AI. With still nobody wanting to buy it. I guess it doesn't matter anymore if companies ever actually make money. It's just the perception of it. That's what matters. It's just like over the past, I don't know how long he's been CEO, but the past how long he's been CEO, I saw a list of every single failed thing he's done. And then we look at Microsoft's share price. Let's take a look at it. Why not? Well, let's see when he came in first. There's Microsoft on the daily. So he's been CEO since 2014 and chairman since 2021. And since then, let's see, 2014 to 2021. Let's just go from 2021. It's been doubled, more than doubled, since 21. Lately it's been a bit rocky, but I mean, it's failure after failure. And I guess it does kind of start to show. I mean, nobody wants Windows anymore. If Linux was in a better spot, I guarantee everybody'd be on Linux. The only reason I'm not is because of the mountain of work it would take. And because I can just extend my Windows 10 for another year. Maybe 2, I bet it will be 2. I can just put it off. I found an article this morning. Let's take a look at it, why not? Microsoft has a problem. Nobody wants to buy or use its shoddy AI products, as Google's AI growth begins to outpace Copilot products. And that's right from Windows Central. I don't know if Windows Central is owned by Windows. I don't think it is. But they basically say you could have avoided all of these issues if you just listened to people. Imagine what it would be like. And they constantly express that all he cares about shareholders. I mean, don't get me wrong, I thought shareholders care about profits from consumers. But maybe that's part of the issue with American stock market these days. It's another reason that inflation is up, I would bet. There's all sorts of little tiny tricks you can do to prop up your share price. Like a mix of hype, a hype salad mixed with share buybacks and borrowing money and making the borrowed money look like profit, or I don't even know it all, because financial engineering, we'll call it. And yeah, it's probably the reason I can trade the US market so effectively. I'm sure I would learn if they went up or down how to trade them. I guess investors would be screwed. Traders would be better, but investors would be screwed without the average of 10% growth every year. A lot of retirement plans would be destroyed. So I understand why so many people want to keep it propped up, but at the cost of everything. It might not happen in my lifetime, but soon. I think America will be no more. I don't believe communism is going to rise. They might become a contender again. But that's enough. I'm a trader. I'm not a news person. I don't care. I'm getting too crazy now. All right, let's take a look at prices and then I'm out of here. I got stuff to do. All right, so the ES was mostly flat in the overnight and unusually sticking above previous month's close. Technically sticking above a support area previous month's close. With a couple hits, one sweep through. But now melting down pretty good. Yesterday was kind of a turning point in the markets. I think as far as just technical, it did seem like something changed yesterday. In the days before where we got growth. Well, actually, let's take a look at the daily. You can see it much clearer. You had these 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 days of giant growth. And then much weaker growth. And then yesterday you just had, it was like a breaking day. I don't know how far we'll go down today, but you could tell weakness was coming. Same thing in the VIX. Yesterday, rather than, we would usually get a pop in the VIX, like this is daily. And I think it's, yeah, early morning and daily. You would get these pops, like last Thursday. But then it would retreat right back. And the overall trend would kind of continue down. Yeah, pop here and then down. Maybe Friday things started to change. You see the trend kind of going up. Or no, that was Thursday. Or Friday morning. But yesterday morning, and during the day, the trend has been up, and the trend has been up even in the overnight. And as well, this is even huge. This is VIX on VIX. The volatility of the VIX itself. I don't know really how it works, but all I know is I can see signals in it. I saw yesterday that it wasn't going back down. Usually you'll see a rise, a quick rise in it, and then it'll settle back down. As we see here, rise, settle back down, rise, settle back down, settle down. And the overall trend was down. Yesterday, it started to stick. So I'll keep an eye on this throughout the day. I don't yet know how to read RSI on it. Well, I know how to read RSI on it, but I don't yet know if this is significant, in other words. The drop in the VIX on VIX is not proportional to the drop in RSI. It was a larger drop in RSI, so that could mean something. I don't know. All right, let's take a look at the other equities in gold and oil. NASDAQ, a little bit different than the ES. Almost seems weaker in a sense. And I have no idea what happened here at 5:35 a.m. to cause this large spike down. Russell has been mostly flat. Same with the Dow, which is again making another attempt at previous month's close. I think that's a great spot for a trade. We dipped below it yesterday. I'm going to try that then. Gold. That is interesting. Gold seeing a sudden spike up. Was it at 535? No. And then oil, mostly flat. Bitcoin, mostly flat. Mostly flat. All right, let's check the dollar. Mostly flat. Building up for tomorrow, I guess. I will not be here tomorrow. Sad to say, I will be doing other things. I will have my phone very close to me. I hate days like that, but it's necessary. All right, that's all I got for today. I will be back Thursday probably, maybe Friday. All right, goodbye. Good luck.